Hello guys, welcome back onto the channel. Update 1.23 just came out and it added a bunch of new stuff. In fact, I think this is one of the biggest updates the game has seen so far. And the list of changes, the list of things that they implemented in this update is kinda huge. So I'm gonna go through some of the main ones very quickly because I don't want to waste too much time on it. But as you probably knew, they added 8 cars, and most of the community guesses were pretty much spot on. From the list that I'm seeing here, most of the guesses were right. And the tracks, as you could see from my previous video, they added a new track, and one of you guys were right, because I remember one of you commenting in one of the videos where I was speculating about the possible location for this upcoming track, and one of you mentioned this exact location, and I'm gonna try to find the comment and I'm gonna put it on the video if I manage to find it. But that was a track that I wasn't expecting, mainly because it's an original track taking place at a real place, so at a real location, so it was a nice surprise, to be honest. And this is quickly growing on me, and I think this is perhaps my favorite track in the game so far. Let me play this track a couple more times just to make sure that I'm right on that. But GT Sport has some really amazing original tracks, so it's no surprise that they're coming up with original tracks that are as good as the ones that came with the game. But moving on, we have the camping mode. They added a bunch of new modes, bunch of new events to the GT League mode. I'm not sure how many people are actually playing this mode. I do play it from time to time when I'm kind of bored, but I don't see a lot of people playing this mode. I might be wrong though. And in the scapes mode, there's a new change that may please a lot of people who are into customization and photography, because now it's possible to place driver avatars when taking photos in scapes, and spots where you can place drivers will have a driver can be placed mark displayed. So this is awesome. This is gonna add a lot of, it's gonna be really nice to people who enjoy this type of stuff. I'm not into this type of stuff. I usually enjoy taking pictures of the cars. I don't care about being able to place avatars alongside the cars, so this is not for me, but I can guarantee there are gonna be a lot of people who are gonna enjoy this new feature. And the driver avatar pose can now be changed. New poses can be bought from the mileage store, which is nice, because before that I had very little incentive to actually go into the mileage store, because pretty much all of the cars they added were repeated. No new cars, nothing that kind of made me want to spend my mileage points. But now you have an extra thing that you can spend your points on. Now they added a bunch of new escape spots, so that's nice. Moving on to Brent Central, and that's kind of huge because I remember that when they announced the game and leading up to the release of the game, they mentioned that they were never going to monetize the game. They said that there weren't gonna be any microtransactions in the game. But they changed their minds. Now it is possible to purchase cars that cost less than 2 million credits through the PlayStation Store. And as far as I could see, I think each of the cars cost $1. Some might cost more. I haven't checked that out, and I have absolutely no interest in checking that out, to be honest. But yeah, there's a monetization aspect in the game. I was kind of expecting it, to be honest, because if they're planning on supporting this game over the long term and there's no way to make extra money on the side besides the money that you put on the game by buying it, I think it was just I thought it was just a matter of time until we saw some sort of monetization making its way into the game, and that's how they made it. I don't think it's unfair, because all of the cars that they're selling for real money can be bought with in-game credits, so it's just an extra option that you have in case you don't have the patience to sit through and play the game to actually earn the money, and you would rather spend real money to get the cars that you're actually interested in. But there's a risk that they might include cars that are paid for. But to be honest, if I'm analyzing the bigger picture here, we can't complain too much. The amount of stuff that they gave out for free so far exceeds any other game in recent years, so it's only natural that they want to make some extra money to keep the development of the game going. The budget is not unlimited, so they need to make sure that there's a certain cash flow coming to the game so that it can support the game in the long run. Now, there are a bunch of small changes to the sport mode and lobby. When auto driving for a certain period of time, cars will now enter a ghost state. I don't know what that means. I don't even know if it's possible to auto drive in online lobbies, but if that's the case, then this might be a good addition. Now, this next one is really interesting. Grid start with false start check has been added to the list of race starting options. Now, I really hope that they do some races in sport mode with this option, because I think it's gonna add a lot to the variety of the sport mode. You usually have only 3 races and they're pretty much the same aside from your car choice, and having the grid start with false start check would be really nice. I don't know, I think it's gonna be fun. It might be just me, but anyways. And for those of you who were complaining about the penalty system, there's a change. The penalty judgment algorithm has been adjusted. Time penalty added due to collisions will be reduced, but a sportsmanship rating can drop even without a time penalty. So I think it's great. It remains to be seen how this is gonna work in actual races. One of the biggest complaints, and not only complaints, but I could see from by watching other people's videos, that the time penalties that you incurred on collisions were huge. Some of them were upwards of 10 seconds, which is ridiculous, and some of them were just light contact. It wasn't just straight up ramming or anything of that sort. So I'm glad that they reduced the penalties in these instances, unless it's I think if it's something intentional, I think the game is still gonna penalize you pretty hard, but for light collisions I think it's gonna be a lot more forgiving. But you can also lose sportsmanship rating, which is great, because that's gonna discourage people from actually going out of their way to mess people up, because the time penalties now have been reduced. Now, regarding the livery editor, it is now possible to apply liveries on racing suits and helmets for which only occurred changes were previously available. For which only color changes were previously available. So that's really nice for people who are into the customization aspect of the game. The physics simulation model, the tire simulation model has been adjusted. Handling during acceleration, deceleration, and cornering have changed. Now, what type of changes these mean, I have no idea. I'm looking forward for the community to find that out and maybe list what exactly are the changes. Now, this is really interesting, and I think it's gonna be really helpful for lobby races. The differences in grip power due to tire temperature variations in races where the tire wear option is enabled have been adjusted. In sport mode, lobby, and custom race, the amount of grip reduction when the grip reduction on wet track edge option within the race settings is set to real has been adjusted. Now, here's the interesting part. When set to real, the grip reduction when picking up debris on tires from driving off track, etc., will be more severe, and it will take longer to recover grip compared to before. Now, this is really interesting, and I think it's a welcome addition, because this is gonna discourage people from actually going out of their way to cut the corners. I know that this is just a rare instance, because the game penalizes people pretty hard in case you cut the corners and in some cases, if you accrue a long enough penalty, you're gonna be kicked out of the lobby. But where I think this is interesting is that some people were kind of abusing the system, kind of pushing all the way to the limit of where you could get away without a penalty by cutting certain corners that the game wouldn't penalize you on. But in this case, I think this change is gonna be really nice, because if you try to push the limits of the track and push the limits of the penalty system, and you maybe go off the track a little bit, I think this is gonna affect how your car handles for a little bit, and it's actually gonna discourage you from doing that. It's actually going, I think, force a lot of people into sticking to the track limits, the real ones, not the ones that the game somehow has set for each of the track. Now, the handling of Formula cards when using the DualShock 4 wireless controller has been adjusted. Nice. And with this update of car physics simulation model, the rankings of driving school, mission challenge, and circuit experience has been reset. So I think this means that they pretty much wiped out the leaderboards, and you need to start all over again. So I don't know how people are gonna feel about that. I'm neutral, it doesn't change anything to me. And we have some smaller ones, like fixed an issue whereas decals placed on the Audi R84.2 FSI R-Tronic 07, that's a mouthful, were distorted. And another thing that is really nice about the way that they're approaching the monetization is a really freaking difficult word for me to pronounce. Monetization. And I'm pretty sure that it's still sounding weird, but anyways, I really like the way that they approach the monetization, and because it's possible for you to hide or show the buy from the PlayStation Store button displayed when purchasing cars. So that's a really nice thing that they added to give you the option to just get rid of the monetization in the game, and you don't need to even look at it. And there are various other issues that have been addressed, none of which are listed here, so I'm hoping that the community are gonna be able to find those out and maybe list in a forum, or I don't know, someplace where we can actually check that out. And that's pretty much everything that this new update brings to the game. That's a lot, to be honest. This is a really bulky update so far. I'm really hoping that this year we finally get to see Deep Forest and the promised rain. But anyways guys, that's all I had to share regarding this update. If you found the video informative and helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more GT Sport content, share the video with your friends and on your social media, helps me out a lot and I really appreciate the help. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.